Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of E-Steam The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today. The definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing and expecting a different result. And I believe Sana Amanat at Marvel is completely insane as it relates to this Kamala Kahn Ms.Marvel character. Now, this Kamala Kahn Ms.Marvel character, her current series is wrapping up and is getting ready to end with the G. Willow Wilson leaving Marvel to go write Wonder Woman, and Saladin Ahmed will be taking over a new series called The Magnificent Ms. Marvel coming soon. Now, in addition to this Magnificent Ms. Marvel, that is the fourth or fifth reboot of this character, we are also getting a Marvel team-up comic which features Kamala Kahn teaming up with the characters of the Marvel Universe. And this Kamala Kahn Marvel team-up book, this is the one that has me scratching my head from a business perspective, because the original Marvel team-up was featuring Spider-Man, and the reason why the original Marvel team-up featured Spider-Man was because Spider-Man was the most popular character in the Marvel Universe, and the Marvel team-up book was originally designed to introduce readers to other characters in the Marvel Universe as they teamed up with Spider-Man, in the hopes that after reading this adventure where Spider-Man teamed up with this character, that readers would go out of their way to go pick up the adventures of those characters, especially the second and third tier characters at the time, like your Iron Mans, your Captain Americas, your X-Men, and many others who just weren't as popular as Spider-Man at the time. So the headlining character of Marvel Team Up was Spider-Man, and it was Spider-Man for a reason. And that reason was because Spider-Man was the top-selling comic at Marvel, and as the top-selling comic at Marvel and the most popular character at Marvel during the 1970s, he could headline the book, and because he headlined the book, that would lead to more sales. And I look at this again, this idea of Kamala Kahn being the headliner for Marvel Team Up, and it just seems like it's one of the most mind-boggling business decisions your Sana Amanat has ever made, and it just proves my point that comic publishing at Marvel Comics is vanity publishing, because Kamala Kahn is nothing more than an avatar for Sana Amanat and represents her interacting with the characters of the Marvel Universe. And that's why I say that this new Marvel team-up series she has come up with is nothing more than a vanity project to sate her ego, and it's not about creating a book that will bring in new readers or generate sales, because your Kamala Kahn Ms. Marvel isn't that popular, and she's not popular enough to headline a book like Marvel Team Up, because in order to have a book like Marvel Team Up, or a book like at DC at the time, DC Comics Presents, you need to have a incredibly popular character headlining that book, because at DC they had DC Comics Presents, which had Superman, the most popular superhero in the world, teaming up with B and C-list DC characters, and they had Batman, the Brave and the Bold, where Batman teamed up with B and C-list DC characters. And again, both of those books were designed so that DC could bring in new readers, and those new readers could get introduced to other characters in the DC universe. And then hopefully, after seeing how great these characters were, they would go out here and buy those comics featuring those characters, like The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman on the DC side. And at Marvel, they would start picking up books like Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, X-Men. That was the original intention of those team-up books from a business perspective. But again, because Sana Amana is all about vanity, it's all about Kamala Kahn teaming up with these characters, and that doesn't really make much logical sense from a business perspective, because the original Kamala Kahn Ms.Marvel book was barely getting 8,000 orders and possibly 4,000 or 5,000 sales. So giving her a book where she's supposed to be a team-up character and a book that's supposed to be an entry point for new readers, that's just one of the most mind-boggling business decisions I ever saw as related to Marvel. It just doesn't make any sense because, again, when you think of team-up books, you think of headline A-list characters who are extremely popular, not a character that is struggling to even get 8,000 orders or 4,000 sales, which isn't even a neighborhood here in New York City. So you wouldn't want to put that character as a headliner character. You would actually, if you were a smart business person, make that character a character that Spider-Man, the most popular character in the Marvel Universe, would team up with, in the hopes that readers could see what made Kamala Kahn special. But Sana Amana wants us to see how great Kamala Kahn is because she believes Kamala Kahn is great. But the sad part is, most readers don't think she's great, and they don't see her as this gateway character into the Marvel Universe. In fact, most people just don't see her as anyone they need to take seriously as any sort of character in the Marvel Universe. So putting her in a Marvel team-up book, that is one of the most, again, mind-bogglingly stupid decisions I have ever seen. And it just shows how completely out of touch the editorial is at Marvel, because when you look at this book, you can sit there and you say to yourself, this is something that there's no audience for it and no market for, because no one wants to see Kamala Kahn teaming up with any sort of heroes. In fact, they just want to see her go away. And publishing 2 books featuring an extremely unpopular character, that's the definition of insanity right there, because Kamala Kahn couldn't even sell her own book. So why would you give her a second book in addition as you reboot her series for the 5th time? So giving her, instead of just canceling her series and just calling it quits, they're going to give her 2 books to fail in, and 2 books that will probably get roasted by people like Diversity in Comics and Yellow Flash and many others. And it's just a complete waste of resources over at Marvel, and just shows how completely out of touch their editors like Sana Amana and C.B. Cebulski are, how they're not thinking about creating comics that actually sell and can find a readership, and how Marvel Comics has changed from a comic publishing company that was about providing the excellence in comic entertainment, but now all they are about is creating vanity projects that sate the ego of Sana Amana, because this whole Kamala Kahn teaming up with other heroes, that sounds like an extremely vanity project where this Mary Sue character can have these adventures in the Marvel Universe, and it's not a book that's going to sell. I believe that this book will die before the 8th or 12th issue, or whatever they need to make a trade paperback out of. But I don't see this as something that's saleable from a commercial and publishing standpoint. And that's just something that it just makes me shake my head, because I say to myself, this is not a book that any publisher with any common sense would greenlight for publication, because they would say to themselves, you know, a headlining character for a team-up book, they need to be an A-list character. They need to be the most popular character, so that when the hero is teaming up with the B character, which is the character they're teaming up with, they can see what's great about that character. But to have the B character be the headliner, that just doesn't make any logical sense, because
Nobody knows who Kamala Kahn is, and nobody cares who Kamala Kahn is. And most of the comic fans who do know who Kamala Kahn is want nothing to do with her. So I look at this decision, and it's just so where Marvel is, and that Marvel is a lost company. And this shows us that it's a company on decline, because if this company had good editorial, they wouldn't have greenlit this type of comic for publication. They would have said, look, if we want to do a Marvel team-up book, which was one of the weaker selling books during the 70s, actually, they would want to try to make it something where it would be one that could possibly appeal to new readers, because this book, as it stands right now, is just not going to sell. And the only way we're going to see is this book getting ripped and roasted on YouTube channels. And that's what this book primarily is going to do. And when I look at the sales numbers in the future, I know what this book is going to be: a complete and unmitigated disaster for Marvel Comics. If you'd like to try some of my SJS Direct publications, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com in the description box. There you can find my ISIS series books, my E-Steam series books, my John Haynes series books, The Temptation of John Haynes, and the Spinsterella trilogy. And if you want to help me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.